The Maple Leafs get ready for the unofficial second half of the season as the Atlantic Division title remains in sight. Hey everyone, welcome to Inside the Leafs. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Toronto Sun Maple Leafs writers Lance Hornby and Terry Koshan. And guys, the Maple Leafs that are not at the Four Nations face-off back on the ice, getting ready for the second half. Lance, we'll start with you. What are you going to be keeping an eye on during the remaining 27 regular season games?
Oh, Rob and Terry, has to start with the trade deadline and what's going to be added. I think at around March 7th, you're already into the stretch run there. I'm sure it's the downtime in terms of games has given Brad Treliving a chance to take one last look around the league. Of course, things can change right up until the minutes right before the deadline, but obviously Toronto needing help at center, always the ever popular depth defenseman, and for a change, nothing in goal. But have to see where that goes. Health generally, I'm sure Terry's already let people in on another slight injury to Max Pacioretty today, and that's been ongoing. Issue with two or three Leafs. You have, the condition of Kelly Yarncroc and Yanni Hakanpää going down the stretch. Goaltending, who is going to be the number one. It's a pleasant problem to have, of course. And then eventually, probably leading into the last couple of weeks, are they going to be able to finish first and get a decent playoff position, or is that going to matter?
Yeah, like Lance said, the trade deadline is pretty big, right? And, the fact of the matter is if Brad Treliving not successful in adding what he wants to add, we're still talking about a good hockey team here, but any team until it wins the Stanley Cup can be improved, and we'll have to see where that goes. As we mentioned before here, Brad Treliving doesn't have a lot of assets that he's dealing with. Certainly not a first-round pick this year. The prospect cupboard isn't bare, but it's also not brimming over either. So we'll see how that goes. But like Lance says, the center for sure would be nice, and a depth defenseman, and that would probably be about it. I mean, last year I think it was Joel Edmondson and Ilya Lyubushkin on the blue line that he had, and Connor Dewar. So we'll see where that goes this year. But individually, is there any chance that William Nylander can catch Leon Draisaitl in the Rocket Richard race? He's 7 goals behind him. I think Nylander with 33 goals might be a little more interesting and intriguing to see whether he can get a career high. He's had 40 each the last 2 years, so I think he'll do that. And Mitch Marner's 4th in league scoring right now. So I think, I don't know that he's going to have a chance at winning our rostering like that. But certainly Marner has had a great season, and for him to keep that going, the health of Austin Matthews, what will that be like now in the final 27 games and coming out of the Four Nations? So I'm curious to see how these things unfold. And just about Matthews and Marner in the Four Nations tournament, one of them is going to come home a winner and feeling pretty good about himself, and one won't be. And I'll just be, be interesting to see which paths each of the guys take that way once this big game is done on Thursday night.
Well, we know how difficult this division can be, the Atlantic Division, Terry, and maybe, this year especially when you've got teams like Ottawa, Detroit, and Boston, all 6 points within Tampa Bay for that third and final spot in the division. The Leafs did lead the pack for quite a while here, but they're now 3 points behind Florida for top spot. Should the division title and home ice advantage be the priority for the team down the stretch?
Yeah, certainly it should be. The Leafs are three back of the Panthers right now with 2 games in hand, and the Leafs and Panthers play 3 more times this season. So obviously huge points on the board there. But yeah, definitely put yourself in the driver's seat. Get to that point. So you have home ice advantage beyond the first round, rather than finishing in second and see where you go from there, or third place. So that should be the goal for sure. Tavares said as much yesterday. Asked Morgan Riley about it today. He concurred with that. It's not the biggest goal, of course, but it would be nice for the Leafs to finish atop the division for the first time since 21 in the North Division. And really, this is not something that's happened a lot in Leaf history, right? Lance would speak to too, I'm sure. A handful of times they've won the division, right, Lance? Going back to, close to
1960s. Yeah.
Yeah, so it hasn't happened very often. But I think the last time before 21 was in 2000. So anyway, I think they're capable of doing it. Like I said, though, those 3 games against the Panthers are going to be massive, but 2 games in hand should help as well. But yeah, by all means, try it as hard as you can to finish atop the Atlantic Division.
Well, Terry sort of touched on it. What a big change in narrative that would be down the stretch when so many times you've gone in the last few years knowing who the first round opponent was going to be, and it was locked in 4 or 5 weeks before. So it took the drama out of it. Not that the Leafs always took advantage of knowing who that opponent was going to be, other than being able to knock out Tampa Bay as they did a couple of years ago. But yeah, you know what? And another thing is the home ice advantage. And let's look bigger picture here. You finish first, and let's say they get by that first round. They will have a good chance to emerge with home ice advantage again in the second round. That is going to be certainly huge, depending on what happens in the other series. So, but I guess the downside might be you could finish first and still, ironically, wind up playing Boston. One of your great playoff nemesis, and then they're not the Bruins that they were before, but still, I wouldn't count them out. Really, you run into that thing that the Maple Leafs used to do historically. That is, way back in the ancient days of the Norris division, sneak in, in a big, having to win whatever 7 of their last 10 or 5 of their last 6, get in, and suddenly they're on a roll, and they might be able to upset a first round team. But don't see that happening with the way Craig Berube's positioned with this team right now. He seems to have them really thinking big, which would be first place and beyond. And he's a coach that's used to it. So I think first place would be a really good change in narrative for this club and its fans.
Yeah, and Terry, of course, did reference the Four Nations face-off, and as of this recording, we don't know which of Mitch Marner or Austin Matthews is going to win, but regardless, not much time to stew on it, as the Leafs are back at it for a back-to-back on Saturday and Sunday against Carolina and Chicago. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. For Lance Hornby and Terry Koshan, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.